In this video, we're going to talk about the elements of the rhetorical situation. These elements can be used to more clearly see and understand a text, and this video should be watched along with the close and critical reading video, because that one also talks a bit about the rhetorical situation and talks about using it as a lens or different layers of lenses through which you can see a text. But in this video, I want to talk about the elements themselves to make sure that people are clear on what those are and how to understand them. So in the middle, you can see of the triangle, we have genre or text. That one's just what category we would put the text in, the piece of writing or whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be writing. The genre could be a video, a movie that you watch, a novel, a critical paper, a newspaper article. Those would all be genres or types of text. Author is pretty straightforward. It's the person who created the text. So for this video, it's me. It could be the author of a novel. It could be the scientist who wrote a science paper. And so you want to know who it is. And when possible, you want to know information about them, because it can help you understand. If you know some things about their background, for example, it might help you understand the text. Audience, there's an important distinction to make. Audience is often used in a general sense to mean like anyone who receives something, who interacts with a text. In this case, that's not how we're using it. Audience is the intended audience. So an example that can help clarify this is to think about leading up to the election, the candidates were releasing ads. And so you could imagine there were some Joe Biden ads that talked a lot about the Midwest, talked about his working class roots. Their intended audience was probably like swing voters in Midwestern states that he really needed to win. So that would be the target audience. But I saw some of those ads, and I'm out here in Colorado. And so in like a general sense, I guess I was the audience because I watched the ads, but I was not his target audience. I was not the person or specific group he was most intending or hoping to reach. And you want to be really specific. So sometimes students will say an audience is like the American public. That's pretty much always going to be too broad. You want to figure out, in this case, undecided voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. That's far more specific and a better, it's a more accurate representation of who specifically he was trying to reach. And so you want to think about a specific target audience. Purpose is what the author is trying to achieve. And so this sometimes gets confused with the thesis. So a thesis is the main argument that they're making. And they can be similar. But let's say, for example, you have a commercial where an athlete is telling you that Gatorade is the best sports drink. And so that's really the argument they're making. You're watching the commercial. They're saying, this is the best one. It helps me after all my workouts. It's the best sports drink for athletes. That's their claim. That's not their purpose. Their purpose isn't just to convince you that it's a good sports drink. Their purpose is to get you to buy it. So the purpose is buy this drink because they want to make money. So they want you, the thing they want you to do is to buy it. The argument they're making is that it's a good sports drink. It's the best sports drink. So thesis and purpose are often related, but they're not the same thing. And purpose is crucial because when you're consuming media, everybody has a purpose. And if you're not thinking about it, it's easy to misunderstand or get tricked. So all these elements come together to help you understand a text. You can see at the edge here, we have context. Context is sometimes historical. In the other video, we talked about institutionalized racism and that the history of that in the United States. It can also be current. It can be things that are happening now in society that will help you understand. Like I said in the other video, it can be helpful to think about if you're trying to explain something to an alien, what are the things they need to know? And certainly they wouldn't have the context, the historical and current societal context, and they might need help with some of these other elements as well. All they'd have is the text, and they could get some information from that, but you'd really have to give them a whole bunch of this other stuff for them to create a full picture. So the last thing I want to do here with this is just put this up for a second. So I'm not going to stay on this too long. You can pause here if you want to take a look, but it's just got some definitions. So if I went a little bit fast for you, or you're feeling a bit confused, go ahead and take a look at these, try to apply them to this graphic and this system of understanding the things around the text. And if you've got questions, of course, as always, feel free to email me and I'd love to talk about it further.